The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Good afternoon, everyone. This is Sarah Hollister from Achieving the Dream. I just want to do a quick sound check and make sure that everyone can hear me. Can you go ahead and raise your hand by clicking the hand icon if you can hear me all right? Great. See a lot of hands. Great. And it looks like almost everyone has put in their audio pin, so thank you for that. That means that as we're going through, if you have questions, you can raise your hand, and I can go ahead and unmute you so that you can ask your question. This is the webinar to go over the Prep for Completion case study template that was sent out about a month ago. Welcome back, everyone. I'm hoping that you all had a wonderful summer. I look forward to another great year of Prep for Completion work and the engagement work that you all are doing. I saw some great things in your progress reports, and I'm really excited to see what will come out of it this next year, and I'm particularly excited to see how it all is captured in the press case studies. So on this call, what we're going to do is a couple things. We're going to just review the press case studies slides that we went over as part of the DREAM workshop retreat last February. So I realize that this will be a review for some of us, but as I was looking back at the slides, I felt that it was helpful to review these slides again and remind ourselves of the press requirements and the purpose. We'll go over the case study writing timeline. And then we'll also review the template and the writing tips that were sent out, as well as those that were gone over by Dr. Honan. And then the majority of the webinar will just be a time for you all to ask questions about the materials, or possibly to discuss how you're thinking about going about writing your case study. So on the call today, Achieving the Dream staff, myself, Sarah Hollister, Associate Director of Programs. We also have Meredith Hatch with us, Associate Director of Programs as well. I believe Leslie, our Director of Programs and Policy, will be joining us shortly. And we don't have a picture yet, but we do have Melanie Mulvey in the room, and she's our new program coordinator, and today is her first day. So we're very, very, very excited to have her on board with us, and she'll be helping out quite a bit with a lot of the logistics for the Press for Completion work. So you can expect to see Melanie's picture soon, and you can expect to see some emails from her. So just reviewing the case studies and Press for Completion, just to remind us. So all of the colleges are required to complete a case study at the end of the grant period. And the idea is to fold in the quantitative and qualitative data gathered by the press colleges throughout the grant cycle according to what is relevant to your case study. So why case studies? Again, we went over this at the pre-meeting workshop, but I think just nice to go over it just to remind us why we're doing this. It's a great vehicle for documenting college process and transformation. It's also a great method for communicating and disseminating knowledge. So Achieving the Dream's goal is to have, a library of promising practices, perhaps a good majority of them in the form of case studies. And then finally, teaching case studies can be used in peer coaching. So as we saw with the session that Dr. Honan led with us at DREAM last February, these case studies can be a fabulous tool for learning with your colleagues, learning with your students, and that's really our goal. So I just want to stop here and remind you that each college obviously will have a different looking case study, and that's okay. And of course, we've given you the template, and within that template it's a guide, but we realize that each college is individual and that each case study will be different. So I just want to go over the timeline so that we remember what that is. So right now, fall 2013, the prep colleges should be discussing the case study prep report with your prep TA. As a reminder, we have the prep case study template, which has a series of guiding questions for each section in the case study. And then we also have a case study prep report. We'll go over that a little bit later, but that's basically an opportunity for colleges to think about what the focus of their case study will be. And again, we've provided guiding questions to walk you through that process. And we are asking that by December 12th that you turn in that prep case study report to Achieving the Dream so that we can review it. And we ask that you do this before you start writing the case study so that we have an opportunity to see what you're planning to focus on and circle back with you, provide some feedback. And again, that's December 12th. Of course, if you need to adjust that due date, we're very flexible. Just let us know. One of the reasons we wanted you to turn in a prep report as well is in February at DREAM, we'd like to provide some space for the prep colleges to discuss their case study writing and possibly even share drafts if you have drafts at that point. Then finally, in July, you'll submit your final case study to Achieving the Dream. So now I'm just going to go over a few of the case study writing tips and other fun case study facts that Dr. Honan went over with us at DREAM. So what a case study is and isn't. So it's a description of a problem or situation. Ideally, it's not just a presentation of conclusions or answers. The goal is to tell a story and to get the reader to think. So it's not a straight-out report with clean bullets. It's a way to build a supportive and collegial learning community. As you saw when Dr. Honan was using it as a teaching tool, it's a great way to start discussion and grapple with some of those decisions that community colleges face. Again, this is talking about when it's a teaching case, and as you all experienced, it's a very engaging and interactive way to have a discussion and to learn. Some key ingredients to effective case development and case writing. So the study nicely answers what are the key learning points to derive from this discussion. So you'll see in the case study prep report that a lot of the questions are about what were those key decision moments or key aha moments in your press for completion work, and trying to focus in on that and distill from that exactly what you learned from this experience. Often this is a clear challenge, issue, or a dilemma where you're able to describe this dilemma and describe a character or a real person or group of people who have faced this. So again, these are all kind of the classic template for the case study, and as you're going along, if you come to different ideas, we're certainly open to that. So here is the press case study prep report that I was talking about, and you'll see that there are instructions and then a set of questions. And again, it's questions that are hopefully going to walk you through thinking about your press for completion work and what would make a valuable case study on this work. And we are asking that you work with your TAs to discuss this and fill out this report before December. So the template that Achieving the Dream has provided is according to the classic template that that Harvard University had shared with us. It includes the challenge and or problem, some background and contextual information, obviously a description of the actions and events that have led up to that aha or cliffhanger moment, and then an ending with the protagonist facing the issue, dilemma, challenge, and or problem. So, and each section in the press case study template has guiding questions to kind of lead you through the writing of this case study. There's a picture of the case study template. So something that we're hoping this will be with the case studies is that it will be engaging and interesting to read so that colleges are learning without kind of mulling through a boring report. So these are some of the ways that we thought this could be engaging. Obviously, talking about your journey, long in description and short on analysis. So thinking about themes rather than bullet points of findings. Telling an interesting and engaging and real story. And here are some ideas for doing that. So I just want to pause before we go on and see if there are any questions. That was mostly a review of the information that Dr. Honan shared with us, and I'm really interested to get your thoughts about the template and the writing process and how you're thinking about approaching this. So are there any questions in particular? I think I see a question from Elizabeth here. No, she was just welcoming Melanie. Any questions? You can raise your hand and I can unmute you, or you can go ahead and type a question into the chat box. Tracy, I'm going to unmute you. Tracy, did you have a question?
Oh, no ma'am.
Oh, sorry about that. Great, a few questions here. Why is this due this December and not at the end of the year? Okay, so the question is why I think the case study prep report is due this December and not at the end of the year. So the final case study is due July 2014, the end of the academic year. So that's the end of the prep work. The prep report is just a 1 or 2 page series of questions to get the college thinking about what will be the focus of their case study. So it's kind of getting you all thinking along with your PA about what you might focus on. It's not actually the case study. Any other questions? Okay, I'm going to go ahead and bring up some discussion questions and give us an opportunity to maybe talk a little bit about how we plan to address this. I'm wondering if any college has thought about this and has any ideas about what will be the focus of their case study. Anybody like to raise their hand and talk about that? I actually have another question here. One question I had from Tom was, eventually, where will the case studies live? On the ATD website. So the idea is to have the case studies live within our Knowledge Center. So if we have a college that's interested in learning more about faculty and staff engagement, they would be able to go and find that very easily in our Knowledge Center. It's a great question. Any other questions, or does anyone like to go ahead and talk a little bit about what they're thinking in terms of their case studies? Anybody's willing to talk about their plans for how they're going to coordinate the brainstorming and writing process? Obviously, I know it's a busy time and everyone could be particularly thinking about this. Has anyone already identified what the focus of their case study will be? So perhaps you could raise your hand. Great. Warren, I'm going to go ahead and unmute you. Go ahead, Warren.
We're probably going to do ours on advising.
Mm-hmm.
And as far as coordinating, we will probably do one writer. I found from doing this kind of thing in the past, if you break it up too much, then it's hard to keep consistency.
Right. So are you planning to have one person kind of be the keeper of the case study?
One person would be the keeper. Now, obviously, we'll have to get input from several different people. Because what we try to do is to bring together adjunct faculty and do an advising syllabus that's brought together full-time faculty and the advising center. So we'll have to get input from all over the place. But as far as writing, just one person.
Just one person.
Right, which I think I've probably quote-unquote volunteered.
Could be a great, great grad student project. Anybody else want to comment? Thank you so much, Warren. Anybody else want to comment on how they're planning to manage this? Claire, I'm going to unmute you. I think Claire actually needs to put in your audio pin, and then you'll be able to speak. Great, Claire. Maybe I can answer your question. You seem to have a question about your specific intervention, and that's your dilemma, is whether or not to scale up a required course or not. That seems like a great dilemma to talk about, and to talk about engagement and how that works. Anyone else willing to talk about their plans for getting their case study going and what they're thinking about? If so, please raise your hand, and I'll go ahead and unmute you. Sally, I think you had your hand raised. I'm going to go ahead and unmute you just in case. Sally, did you want to speak?
I did try and unmute it, but I think I kept raising it and lowering it. Sorry. We're going to focus ours on out-of-class support. Our project focused around mathematics, and we have out-of-class support is a central idea from a variety of different perspectives. So we're probably going to do that. Most of the coordination will be done with me and my 2 lead faculty, but we will of course get this equipment on. And I
Great, thanks. Oh, go ahead, sorry.
I shall take the lead on the writing and have them.
Great. Thanks for sharing that. I have a okay, so I have a few comments here that I'll just read out. So Durham Tech is actually thinking about the dilemma of keeping engagement happening in the midst of a financial crisis, which is certainly a very timely dilemma for all of our colleges. And I think Durham Tech, as a lot of other colleges probably recently have had to really increase the teaching load and what that does to engagement and how it makes it difficult. Let's see. Anyone else have some thoughts about what the focus will be? And looks like some people are going to do some surveying. Elizabeth, can I go ahead and unmute you, and can you just say a little bit about the survey that you plan to do? I know that you've done that in the past and it works well. Elizabeth?
Sure. Our project is very faculty-centered and faculty-led. We're working on first day and first week assessments in Intro to Statistics, and also our freshman composition course, English 1. And I think that we got everybody on board this summer. We trained all of the faculty. And what we'd like to do at the conclusion of the fall semester is to survey faculty to see how things went, to get new ideas, to look for tweaks and improvements. But I thought it was a great opportunity to get some qualitative data, some quotations, and some of the more feel good or feel bad feedback from faculty members, which we could certainly feed into our case study.
Great. That's a great idea. And the writing itself, Elizabeth, do you know who's planning to do the actual writing?
Well, the teams that we've created, the thinking teams, one is a team of math people and one is a team of English people. Each of those teams has a lead faculty member, so I think I would be calling on them most specifically to contribute and certainly begin the brainstorming process early. One of those people happens to be a very accomplished writer, so I think she can help us out quite a bit in wording it in a way that's more interesting than a report sort of format.
That's great. Well, thank you so much for sharing, Elizabeth.
Sure.
Does anyone else have any questions or want to share what their plans are? Or any of the TAs that are on, if you'd like to weigh in at all, please feel free to raise your hand and I can unmute you. Okay, well, there doesn't seem to be a lot of questions that we haven't addressed or hands raised, so we can go ahead and end the webinar early. Before I do that, I just do want to say that the TAs and as well as Achieving the Dream staff are here to support you in the writing process and in the work. So we're happy to brainstorm with you and support you in any way that we can. So please don't hesitate to contact us. And in the meantime, we'll look for your prep report in December, and we will be in touch with you about more opportunities to share your case study writing, either possibly before DREAM and definitely at DREAM. So thank you very much, everyone, for attending, and the recording will be sent out. A link to the recording will be sent out shortly, hopefully by the end of tomorrow. So for those of you who'd like to watch it again or pass it along to your colleagues, there will be a recording, and we will also be sending along the presentation. Thanks so much, everyone, and have a wonderful afternoon.